Good evening, Free Enterprise, and welcome to another edition of the Enterprise Legacy Community Show Club Race. I am Bad Karma. I'm joined tonight in the booth by Plumeria Knight. We have our restreamer, Alska424, and our tracker, Cairo. Plumeria, how you feeling tonight?
I'm pretty good. How are you, Bad Karma?
I'm doing well. I'm excited for another edition of the Enterprise Legacy. For those who don't know, this is a community club race that was put together by Zoe Vermillion. V has been working really hard on setting this up. And what basically is we've had a very standard flag set that started out, and each week that flag set has changed. And tonight we have something pretty interesting, as well as each week also has a little bit of story.
That's right. And this week, the story is that it's only your fourth iteration in this bizarre adventure, but it's starting to feel routine. Get to-do list, fly around, kick a butt, repeat. You take note of the differences this time around. Your to-do list is only 5 items long again. That's nice. It also seems you're not hunting for any of your deadly foes, except for that gauntlet thing. Also, it seems like some of your friends aren't here this time. Where did they go?
Yeah, and what that means is we have Distinct 8 turned on this week. And so we will have, as always, the required Febble Gauntlet, completing the Antlion Nest, which was a result of completing a meta objective of fading the Antlion Nest. We're going to raise the Big Whale, get Sid, and get Yang. All in all, pretty spicy set of objectives here. We got some key item hunts, we got a boss hunt, we got character hunts, and yeah, we also have a couple new additions to the flag set because last week's meta was met where not equipping a cursed ring, vanilla agility is turned on. Plumeria, how does that make you feel with this flag set?
Well, it's gonna make me feel pretty nervous because Cecil is a great character, and he just gets a little bit nerfed when he's the center point of the agility calculation.
Well, and there's always a chance we don't find a Sissel with Distinct 8 on. So we know 3 of the characters. We got a Foo start, and our winner last week, Longies, actually added the flag set or Vanilla Foo. So Foo is actually going to start off level 50, 1900 HP, full array of spells instead of getting 3 spells per boss kill.
Yeah, and that's going to go really well with our new meta objective for the week.
Yeah, the open fewer than 25 treasure chests is with T Wildish. I know I like to let my inner loot goblin fly to loot everything I see. Our runners, if they want to complete that meta objective to unlock the next iteration of the seed, we'll definitely have to make sure it's less than 25, and that's where the Feymarch chest counts as one of those, and the chests on the moon. But we don't have any key items on the moon.
Which is a bit of a change of pace, and I'm sure all the racers are going to be a little thrilled about that.
Yep, so with Moon definitely haunted tonight and a powered up Foo, we could be seeing a quick race tonight. couple other things to note. We do have, because of the previous meta with the sealed cave without using warp, we have the warp glitch on. We have the life glitch and self glitch is on as usual. Spoon flag is on if one of our distinct 8 is an Edward. And T Wildish for our chests and S Pro for our shops. So, and we should be starting here any moment now.
So, Bad Karma, what's going to be your plan of attack when the seed starts?
I take that foo and I start hitting. I'd probably land immediately and knock out Baron in. Get that character there. As we're off, and we got a Sid start with Golbez hanging out in Baron Castle. Now, this Sid does not count as our objective to get Sid. We have to find a duplicate Sid out in the world to complete objective number 4.
And he could just be in the Baron Inn.
Yep, we have complete antlion nest. I fully believe we'll be seeing that light up.
Was
here.
that a Luca key?
That was. Yep, we have a Luca key to start. Dia is doing some spell management, getting all of her favorite spells sitting in the right spots, and that's a Yang. Typo guards in this first spot here, not going to pose any problem with this really powered up foo. See who the second fight is. This is an objective to get that Yang.
So an early objective means we might have a pretty quick seed here.
Yep, with these character hunts, we're going to be seeing our runners probably prioritize some of these character checks. We do have C relaxed on, so could find a duplicate foo, could find an edge in any of these spots. We don't have free characters. There's our underground access as well. Two minutes in, both of our featured runners are on the board.
So this seat is wide open now.
Yep, any and everywhere, and it'll be really interesting to see which way these runners go. You could go and do your overworld checks, which it looks like that's where Ground Flyer is heading. You could go and dive the underground, get that free key item from Feymarch. There's also the free key item in Troya.
That's right. I forgot about that free key item.
Yep, the free key item flag, no free key item flag is turned off, so Dia is going to talk to the Bedward as Ground Flyer is doing his objectives and gonna see who's here at the antline.
And it looks like Ground Flyer is avoiding all the treasure chests.
These runners want to unlock this meta objective of less than 25 chests. And with the powered up food, this is the seed to do it in.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. That Fusoya is going to do a lot of work, especially in the early game.
Got a Plague down here, and Valvalis on top of Hobbs with Rosa. Not exactly what you want to see when your main carry is a mage. Meanwhile, the bottom of the antlion nest, Earth Crystal, that's 2 more character checks.
Oh, and that's a very good early Earth Crystal. You can spend some of those treasure chests opening the treasury in Troya.
Question in chat on what the mystery objective is to rate less or loot less than 25 treasure chests, which both of our runners have been doing quite well so far. Interesting that Ground Flyer is wanting to try and take this Val, try to get a nuke off before she spins up. Magic evasion is
Yeah, I think that nuke will one-shot her.
yeah, the magic evasion not as high as I thought it was here, and Nuke able to take care of that Val. Dia finds the D-Mist, but with the free key item, D-Mist does not give us a bonus key item, so this will just be a boss kill. I'm curious to what Dia is looking... Oh, look, Dia's looking for the football gauntlet, of course.
Yeah, that's right. With that one boss hunt, you do have to check for bosses in unlikely places. And it could still be on the moon.
And that is where I hope it is, deep in that Ogopogo spot. Just some D-Lunars in the Mist Cave. The resets out of them. Dia already gotten the free item check, and so yeah, Rosa's mom still shows up when you defeat the D-Mist out in the world, but you get the key item from Edward instead of Rosa's mom. For Zoom Waffle, yes, all 5 objectives need to be completed to get the crystal and complete the seed.
So both players are still prioritizing the overworld, and it looks like Groundfire is heading toward the treasury.
Yeah, that treasury was pretty nice. It had a bunch of decent gear. He went at it so fast, I missed half of it, to be honest. Chad is saying that it was very melee heavy, though. Yeah, and I don't blame the runners for wanting to clear out the overworld. With this Fu, a number of fights are going to be done very quickly, one shot and done. So I'm not surprised by this tactic of just getting as much as the Earth cleared out with no key items on the moon. You want to leave that to be that football gauntlet boss hunt if you can avoid that.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense because the football gauntlet could just be in one of these locations too.
The age-old adage of check your freebies, check your objectives, or what's going on here, and pretty much every fight on the blue planet, before going down underground is going to be free with this Fu. Baigen in the Mega Sister spot, down quickly, going to get some nice levels for this Sid and this Yang. Doing a quick safety save as Groundfire is getting his Sid set up with a back row glitch. Who are our characters going to be? There's a Porum. Good info to know that Dr. Luge is going to be that second fight in the Dwarf Castle whenever our runners decide to head down and do that character check if this is not a duplicate Sid.
Yeah, I think Luge and Golbez's spot is pretty nice. It's already a low HP spot as it is, and then Luge divides it up even further.
Does that count as a commentator's bless or curse? With me saying that it could have been a Sid.
Well, we don't have to finish the giant now.
Yep, our 2 character checks are complete. Dia has 3 objectives lit up at the 10-minute mark. We got French Vanilla Maggot Sisters here, though. This Not gonna take out Fusoya for sure, but the other characters are dropping pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty heavy magic spot, mostly for Valvalis' debuffs to hit. So they're going to be pretty strong here.
One swag rock from Fusoya though, and those sisters are down. So if you are
any chance to cast, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, if you're Dia, where do you feel like you go from here? Do you finish clearing this overworld, or do you dive underground? You only need a darkness crystal and a Fabul gauntlet.
I think I want to head underground and maybe check the Fey March, see what the bosses are, do a king.
I would agree with that. Peek those bosses in the Fey March, get that free key item, and then come back up, do Fabul defense. As Dia is going to see who this character in the bed. Looks like that was another Porm.
So we've got all the white mages this seed.
Haven't seen Atella yet. You know, Atella's a very subpar white mage sometimes.
Well, Cure 4 always works.
That is true. Cure 4 and Berserk, as long as you don't need it to land super reliably with a curse ring. Yeah, I like your plan of going underground. Dia appears to as well. Chat pointing out the Ordeals does have 3 boss checks, but I would like to maybe route that in on my way back up. You know, peek some of these bosses who you can see the sprites for. We are looking for a blue robe, so that just gives you some information to see if if there's an easy fight down there. King Queen Evelyn, maybe even Dark Imps could be a little punchy in like a Leviathan spot, but yeah, there's a lot of options down the Fey March that with this food could be taken out really easily.
Yeah, I agree. I really like fading Mount Ordeals for now. It's a long dungeon, 3 bosses, and I think you can do it. Put it off a little bit.
And Dwarf Castle having the character checks already done is not as appealing to me, just because we know the second boss is Lugae. I would almost be willing to just go in and peek that first boss and see if it is a blue robe.
Yeah, I think that's a great strategy.
And normally, if you've watched any of Highway to the Dream Zone, you've seen Dia run her races. You know she doesn't typically loot as is. I believe that apple right there is her first chest this entire run.
Yeah, she is known for not opening treasure chests. I think this meta objective was really designed for her, and I'm really glad we can see it in action.
Yeah, chat pointing out 2 key items have been apples. That's really interesting, and will really help fuel the meta too, because those can be sold for quite a bit of money even with this quarter. And I'm gonna have to stop asking for things or speculating what they are.
I think the runners appreciate it.
Dark Imps, not necessarily a free fight there. You really want to have like an hourglass or something, because they are very punchy in that spot. But if you get one, that could be a good spot to get some levels early on with the life glitch on.
Yeah, and Fusoya also has some options. I think Toad or Size can be effective there if you can get him to cast that spell first.
So we're gonna test this out here. Where are you hoping for this alt gauntlet to be at, Plumeria? If you're a commentator, you're not a runner, so you don't have to worry about any of that coming back to haunt you. Where are you hoping for this alt gauntlet to be?
Oh, the Masamune altar, of course.
That is always where I like it to be for when I'm not running this race, is to be there. Dia's going to give us a peek at this dwarf castle. It's a lunar sparkle, not a blue robe.
So now it's just a key item location, and who knows?
So Dia has set up Sheila 1. Probably gotta head to Fabul. This is 2 key item checks. I like this play. It's easy to route down into Ordeals next if that's her plan, to do that 3 boss check. And it looks like Groundflyer may be thinking on trying to take on this Dark Imp. And chose not to.
I think that's a sensible decision.
I think I would like to see those SIDs maybe get a little bit more heft on them before taking that on, just to be able to take a hit or two and help protect the rest of the party. Those Dark Imps hit really hard in that Leviathan spot.
Yeah, that's one of the highest attack spots in the game, so even if you have a plan, it can be a little random if you can actually get through the fight.
Another... Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying that meanwhile, Dia was in Fabul doing the defense.
Yep, got a Lunar Staff and for troubles for defending Fabul, and Rat Tail from Sheila 1.
So no help without that hook, but if we ever find it, that's another key item check that we can... maybe the Darkness Crystal will be there.
And it looks like Dia is going to start making the climb to Ordeals. Like we were saying earlier, 3 boss checks here. Kind of a long dungeon, but with this being a boss hunt, I can see a number of runners, trying to get this knocked out with this overpowered foo.
Yeah, it's three quick boss checks, and he gets his MP refilled for free when you enter the shrine. Which with Fusoya is kind of valuable since he has so little MP to start with.
Now it'll be really interesting to see where Dia goes after this, because her options, depending on if there is a key item here or not, are all underground at this point. Dwarf, top of tower, and those 2 Fey March bosses, and Lukaki.
Yeah, and with the warp glitch enabled, I think Dwarf Castle would be a 2-for-1 special, if that's her plan.
Yeah, and it'll be really interesting to see when our runners decide to tackle that 2-for-1. Even though it doesn't have the desirable bosses, that could still be a vanilla Darkness Crystal.
Absolutely.
Groundflyer, meanwhile, is finished up his Fabul defense. Does not look like he... Or did he turn in the Rat Tail first? Or turn in Sheila 1 first?
According to the tracker, yes, it looks like he has the Rat Tail.
I had not considered that. Zoe Vermilion in chat has suggested an alt gauntlet at Sealed Cave.
Oh, that is spicy. I like that.
That is an extra level of evil outside of alt gauntlet at Ogopogo.
Yeah, with that warp glitch enabled, you do not want to go into the sealed cave at all. And if you have to do a boss check there, it just feels bad.
I would fully expect that to be the last location our runners would go to.
Yeah, I would not be surprised by that either.
Getting a Lunar Sparkle here in the Crystal Changing Room. Hello, Wyvern. And goodbye, Wyvern. Dia did some run buffering there and got the nuke off before the Mega Nuke.
That was very nicely done.
That was also our Darkness Crystal, so that's going to be objective number 3 whenever Dia decides to go and check that. So the question now for Dia is the moon doesn't have key items; it just has boss checks for her. So do you go and start checking those?
It's awfully tempting. And the Bahamut Cave does still have a key item, I think. So there is one key item up there.
Yeah, and a character. So if Dia's not happy with her party, could get another character check just to see, maybe get a physical fighter or black mage. Because with this party, while it's definitely doable after a grind, I would like to see maybe a Riddy or a Palom.
Yeah, I would. I think the hybrid party is great, but at some point I would want to try to focus on either fighters or mages for the Zero Miss fight.
Now this is another interesting thing. Doing Keyless Tower here, because this will give Dia the knowledge of who's in the Rubicante spot.
That's a really good check and really good game knowledge too.
It's going to tell Dia how important the hook will be, since we know she doesn't need any more key items. You know, so unless one of these bosses package, or the harp, or or in Baron Castle, that's 3 bosses in there, even one of them being Golbez.
Right. On the other hand, if she sees a blue robe, I don't think we've seen Water Hag yet, so it could be, a bit of a, a misleading clue.
But Dia finds a blue robe here. Is this our alt gauntlet? Just a water hag. Oh, Dia reset.
Right, she resets out of it.
I think I would have fought that, at least to get the key item, because we still have bosses that are locked behind key items.
Yeah, but she's gonna go to Luca Cave instead and walk this out, maybe.
I think Dia is just looking for bosses. She knows that the warp glitch is on, and can get to this key item from Dwarf Castle, but does not want to have the situation we spoke of earlier, that Zoe mentioned, and having this be the alt gauntlet at the bottom of Seal Cave.
Yeah, I think it's a great play. Most people are probably thinking to check the key item behind the warp glitch, and this is going to give her the knowledge of which boss is down here.
She can always just reset out of this, and also at the same time she can know that she can go do the warp glitch and get this item if it's important.
Exactly.
Ground Flyer is going to be getting his Darkness Crystal though, and we'll be greeted with Wyvern. Let's see if he can get his nuke off before the Wyvern's Mega Nuke. That's a Baron key.
So that's good intel. That's 2 more bosses.
And that was just Mylon and friends. So Dia is taking her save back to the top, and I would expect to see her go to Dwarf Castle right after this.
And she goes to Tamra, doing some shopping, I guess.
Now, the one thing about not looting is you're not going to have a lot of funds for some of the strats we have out there, low-level strats, considering how fast this seed has been. We've seen vampires. We know Star Veils are up on the overworld somewhere. You're not going to have a lot of cash, but you have a foo with weak. So probably just going to go and do a D-Machine grind and to get your levels.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. You want to try to find those ethers so you can power up your foo for that grind.
Dia is not too worried about that Baron key right now.
I didn't see if she peeked the boss or not, did she?
She did not. She checked the item shop, so I'm not. I think maybe she's looking for Star Veils. There they are. I promise you, chat, I do not have a spoiler log. And both runners are going to be heading to the moon at the same time. Dia's done a couple other little checks underground, whereas Groundflyer went straight from ordeals to raising the big whale. Let's see if he follows this up to the moon.
Yeah, so after all that, Dia's up a couple of checks, but it looks like they're in more or less equal footing in terms of the objectives.
Chat reminding me, Dia checked that first boss in Dwarf Castle earlier was a Lunar Sparkle.
Ah, yes.
So while our runners are setting up their next moves, it looks like Groundflyer may have been thinking Baron manipulation, but I do want to do a quick shout out to Auska44 for doing the restream, Kyru for doing the tracking, keeping us honest, and to my co-commentator, Plumeri Knight. Please give the Restream team a follow, and also please give our runners a follow. They've been putting on an excellent race so far with how these objectives have just been ticked off one by one so quickly.
Yeah, and on that note, big shout out to my co-commentator, Bad Karma, helping me out on my first commentary.
That's a ninja up on the moon.
Alright, so does that change how you grind?
It makes me glad that I didn't grind before grabbing him. Real quick, thank you Panda Peach for the raid. 5, welcome in. We have our Enterprise Legacy race. But back to your question, Plumeria, it definitely makes me glad that Groundflyer checked that before doing his grind. Just to, have that edge get powered up. Edge is gonna hit a little bit harder than a leveled up Sid, considering we haven't looted all that much. But hopefully, Groundflyer can find some long blades or maybe even ninja blades in one of these S Pro shops.
And it looks like Dia found some ethers in Fabul Castle. So do you think Dia is just going to do the D-Machine grind right away?
It's hard to tell. Looks like she is going to the moon, maybe to check this character. She doesn't want to she wants to make sure that Groundflyer doesn't have an edge over her. All right, credit to Alska for reminding me to do that because she did in chat.
All right, so even though the can't run flag is not on for this seed, we see Ground Flyer doing the manipulation.
Yep, so this came about during the Highway to the Threema Zone when we had E Can't Run on, so that runners couldn't do the traditional D machine manipulation in the Giant. Some runners have said that they like this manipulation more because they've practiced it more for Threema Zone. Other runners, myself included, I like the old way, just because it allows me to, just to be right there and ready. Maybe do something really cheeky and check that boss, see if it's a free boss. I'm wondering if Ground Flyer is getting this grind on to be able to check those giant bosses. Dia's doing the same thing though.
Yeah, I think both strategies have their advantages and disadvantages. I agree with you though. I like going into the giant and doing the encounter that way.
Yeah, the interesting thing here is Dia could be at 9 key items right now, depending, and it could be more depending on what Dwarf Castle is and what top tower was. We know that Sealed Cave is Baron Key, so I would almost be willing to put this off to get 10 key items.
Yeah, that's a great point. And as we've learned, you can actually keep the manipulation throughout more key item checks. So maybe that's what she's thinking.
But I will also point out, Dia is a lot better runner than I am. And I would definitely do whatever Dia is doing more than me.
Dia has a very good skill set when it comes to running free enterprise, and I would agree with that 100%. I would follow what she does rather than what I say to do.
Both runners look like they do have their manipulation set up, though. Ground Flyer is going to be the first one into the giant, and Dia is immediately after him, and they will be looking for this D machine. So, Plumeri, do you want to give people who are not familiar with this, want to give a quick rundown of this D machine grind?
Sure thing. So what the runners have done is they've manipulated the encounter table so that their next fight will be against the Searcher and 2 Beamers. And once the Beamers are destroyed, the Searcher will summon D-Machines. These D-Machines are worth about 40,000 experience each, and the Searcher will continue to summon them one at a time through the fight. What makes them really nice for the grind is that all they will do is spam a fire attack, which you can deals percentage-based damage, and you can heal that pretty easily. The other advantage is that they're susceptible to the weak spell, which sets the enemy's HP to single digits, which makes them very easy to kill, even at low levels. And that's basically the gist of the grind. You just spend a few minutes killing D-Machines, and the next thing you know, your party is ready to take on any boss in the game.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see how many D-Machines that our runners will decide to go with. And I just noticed Dia did not take that edge. So didn't check the moon character at all. So it has 2 Sids, a Yang, and a Porum with that Fu. So this will be really interesting to see how many of these dragons that Dia wants to take down.
Yeah, and I kind of understand that decision. Since none of the key item checks provided any decent weapons for edge, I think those Sids might end up doing a little more damage, but we'll see.
Our checker pointing out that Dia did see it was an edge and did not take it. Thank you, Kyrie, for keeping me honest there. So this is interesting to see how this will go, in terms of how our runners will approach this.
Yeah, and it's pretty interesting that both of our runners have settled on pretty different parties. We've got Fusoya, Sid, and Yang, but then Dia has Forum and an extra Sid, while Ground Flyer has Rosa and an Edge.
Yeah, Dia had reset out of that Valvalis fight on Hobbs to not take the Rosa, and chose not to take the Edge. So good observation there with the difference in party. I really find it interesting that both of our runners got back attacks for their D machines as well. It's great when it lines up and one gets a back attack and they're sort of back to back, but not today.
Pincer attacks are not a thing in Final Fantasy 6, or 4, but it's kind of a neat callback to 6 when that happens.
Yeah, both runners got their catnip manipulation successfully completed, and we are in for this, and we will see which of our two runners comes out of their grind before the other. It's really going to depend on how strong they want this team to be.
Yeah, and I think it really also depends on how many levels they want for their white mage. I think that is going to be the main consideration. I don't think Rosa is going to be in slingshot range, whereas I think Forum is. So I think that could be a big difference in this grind.
I do apologize. I realize as I said it, our wonderful chat, combined can't run and manipulation into catnip. It's not catnip manipulation. I apologize for that. I'm fully in support of it.
Yeah, I agree. Catnip is a great name for the manipulation.
As you see, both runners are having different ways that they are triggering these. You'll see Dia is using Yang's kick to get these dragons out, whereas Ground Flyer is doing more traditional, using a Thor Rage to do the hit for low damage to make sure they're not killing the Searcher.
Yeah, the Thor Rage strategy is nice because it's kind of like a built-in counter, so you know how many D machines you've summoned already so that you don't lose count. Whereas Dia is going to be keeping count inside of her head, and I don't think she'll make a mistake, but it's just a little safety to use the Thor Rages.
I know I've miscounted a number of times on my own. I've either been one or two too many or 5 or 6 too short. So there's definitely a wide range there, but again, it just goes to show the ingenuity of our runners, and whether they keep count in their head or they use an item to keep count. Is definitely a wide range of that across this entire community.
And a comment in chat about using Kick to kill a D machine and summon one at the same time. That is possible. The big strategy here, though, is that you want Fusoya to have the next turn to cast Weak, so that the D machine isn't casting fire too many times, or you end up wasting turns healing.
Yeah, and the big thing is getting those life glitches off when they are turned on, just so it's less. Otherwise, you're doing 20 to 30 of the, or 20 to 25 of these, and instead you're doing 10 to 11, which really speeds things up. So yeah, it's definitely a nice way. If we didn't have the life glitch on, that would definitely be something I would look at, is to be able to try and kill the D machine and get the next one summoned as fast as possible, though.
Yeah, different flag sets can definitely change the grind quite significantly. I'm a little surprised neither player is using Yang's power command, because that does allow the potential to get more than 1 or 2 life potions off at the same time, but I'm not going to second guess them.
Yeah, me personally, I'm just happy if I can get 1 life glitch off. You know, the runners who are good enough and skilled enough to get 2 and 3 off, you know, kudos to them, because I can't seem to get it to land ever. So I just like to get into a groove and get going and make sure everything stays consistent. And I think that's what Dia is shooting for. You know, you can see her turn order is impeccable to be the same every single time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And as Flurry points out in chat, you take more damage when you have a delayed attack to do that strategy. Oh no, and Ground Flyers not have enough MP to cast Weak.
Gonna be taking a round or two probably to get the party healed back up, get some MP back into Fu. And Dia has finished her grind, 800,000 XP. That is usually the sweet spot of where you want to be.
So unless I'm mistaken, I think that's going to be 1.6 million for Porum, which is more than enough for her to get her spells.
And gonna be saving. Probably we'll check these bosses while here.
Right, looks like Porum did not get the slingshot, so she's going to be a little shy of her top tier spells, I think.
Yeah, but if Dia is gonna be checking these bosses, as long as it's not something that will split the XP, these 2 boss fights, at least this elements fight, should give a good chunk as well. I don't know, chat. I think this just confirms that all Colin's going to be at Poco, right?
Well, every boss check, it gets more and more likely.
I was saying because I called out specifically if this was a fight that was going to split XP.
Right, looks like Ground Fire is done too.
Yep, and down his Sid to be the anchor. It looks like Sid's not going to be getting any levels today, so we'll be moving him into the middle spot.
Yeah, and it looks like Dia did not do that. I think her plan is to just use Berserk, which kind of bypasses the whole need to worry about agility manipulation in the first place.
Now, every runner has a boss in this game that they hate seeing no matter where that boss shows up. For me, it's Mom Bomb, because that extra 10,000 HP at any spot just makes the fight longer than it really needs to be. Especially here with this spot having already a huge health pool. This is a long fight no matter how you slice it.
Yeah, and actually I think, unless I'm mistaken, I think it has the maximum HP regardless of the extra 10,000.
And Groundfire said, I'm out of here.
It's hard to fault Groundfire for noping out of this, but we'll see if Dia is rewarded.
And if you've been watching this race and you feel like this looks really fun and I'd like to get involved in this, make sure you check out the Free Enterprise Discord. It has everything that you would need to start rolling your own seeds. It has all the information that you could ask for to get to learn about the game, find out things that you never even knew about the vanilla game. I know that's how it was when I started. So please check us out. I have a very friendly community. We'll answer any question that you have. Just come out and even hang out with us and enjoy the races, or maybe get involved, and we'll see you in the next event.
Yeah, and even if you aren't interested in doing tournaments or community races, it's just fun to play. So give it a shot.
D is on to the little bombs, so should be wrapping this fight up here shortly. Whereas Ground Flyer's giving us our first Moon Boss check.
Alright, so Ground Flyer is doing some window shopping on the moon, and there are 6 total bosses up here.
And none of these bosses, except for the Bahamut cave, will have key items. And that's where Ground Flyer is flying over to next.
And for a second there, I thought he was going to try to take out that Bahamut, but he decides, nope, not worth it.
I thought the same thing, changing the rows of the characters, setting up a power punch for Yang, and I don't know if maybe he just remembered that the K-Moon flag is off, or maybe he thought he was going to the Bahamut spot, but that's where he's going now.
Yeah, I think he also might have been thinking that it's going to be a powerful item in that spot, and maybe he gets a nice weapon for one of his characters.
Oh, that was a Dark Knight Cecil in that Bahamut spot.
Phew, that is one of the worst places to find him. And Ground Flyer decides not worth it.
Yeah, with this party, it's not that bad. You have, a Sid and a Yang who will make it through those 3 waves. I believe it's going to do 1,100 damage each wave at that spot. There is an Excel spreadsheet somewhere in the Discord, in the guides, that has all those numbers, and I remember the top 3 spots all have the same. I would have probably ran into that just for how quick it is. We do still have a number of key items gating boss spots out there, so you don't want to fade too many of these and have to double back, as Dia is through the Mom Bomb fight.
Yeah, and she did life glitches on the little bombs, so a little bit of bonus experience.
Question chat, the rest of the moon bosses have not been checked. We've only seen that Bahamut at the Mursame altar.
Alright, so Ground Flyer is going to do Dwarf Castle. We don't know the key item here, but we do know that if he does the warp glitch, he'll get that Baron Key.
The question in chat, they have to find the Fabul Gauntlet. That's not the defend Fabul fight, it's the actual boss fight of Fabul Gauntlet.
And both players find our missing moon bosses. Dia has Pale Dim, and Ground Flyer has the dreaded Ogopogo.
Well, of all the spots to find Ogopogo, this would be a good one to find. And now I'm seeing why Ground Flyer chose not to go ahead and do that Dark Knight Cecil fight. Ground Flyer's levels are not as high as Dia's. That Yang would be able to live through it, but nobody else would be able to, because Ground didn't level up the Sid.
That's true. With a Cure 4 from Rosa, he might be able to make it through, but it would be pretty dicey.
Dia deciding to not want to chew through that 30k health or so on that Pale Dam and is walking out. And Ground Flyer is going to finish up Dwarf Castle.
Yeah, that's not a high HP spot, so I think maybe she was thinking she could get through it really quickly and it would be faster than walking out. Plus, maybe she wants an anchor. Those are a couple of reasons she might have been taking that fight, and then in the end, she just decided it wasn't worth it.
So Ground Flyer is going to be completing Dwarf Castle. We'll be giving us a look at this key item check. We'll probably do a quick warp and get the sealed cave item. We know that the boss down there, because Dia went and checked it, is not the Alt Gauntlet. That's just Mylon and friends. So it'll be really interesting to see if Ground Flyer decides to walk down there to do some checking as well.
Yeah, I'd be really curious to see when Ground Flyer checks the boss at Sealed Cave. And we see Dia is picking up another character.
That getting a base level Porum to be the anchor, that is a really good move there. Base level Porum has, I want to say, 7 or 8 agility.
Yeah, I think that's about right, and I think it should be low enough to get everyone to relative agility 1.
Dia is heading back to the moon and going to be checking this Cave Bahamut spot.
And she may be more inclined to take this fight than Ground Flyer was. We'll see.
This is the only spot on the moon, because we have K Summon on, that will give a key item. Ground Flyer finds the Legend Sword.
Well, that's a key item.
Dia also leaving the DKC alone, not gonna bother with that, and looks like her plan is just to go in and check on these bosses.
You know, I'm not too surprised by that. There aren't a ton of key items left that are gating bosses, and she knows where one of them is. So she's going to check the other 5 bosses up here and see what she finds.
Getting this cutscene out of the way so she doesn't have to do it again. Ground Flyer is making the dive into Baron Castle. This is 3 bosses. We know who one of them is. It was Golbez, who gave us our first item.
Yeah, and that's probably another reason why Dia is avoiding Baron Castle, because Golbez is not a fun boss.
Zoe Vermillion in chat. I also like this play of doing the face check after the post grind. If it pays off, you get this alt gauntlet up here on the moon, and you can just walk right on down to Zeromus. At this point, I do like this play as well.
Yeah, I think it's a very sensible play. There's a lot of bosses here. Highly dense location to check. Now, if it's not here, then it's really... I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal, because you still have to do a ton of checking on the Earth.
Did Ground Flyer turn encounters on?
I think he's...
Oh, he's set. He's
yeah.
He's setting up for Golbez.
Yes, that's right.
So what Ground Flyer's doing, Golbez is going to kill off 3 of your party members at random during the fight. And if you go ahead and take those choices away from Golbez and you can go in with the 2 that you want, he's not going to do anything.
Yep, and the second key will be getting a status effect on his 2 surviving party members, whichever he chooses, so that Golbez's hold gas won't paralyze his party, and that will keep their ATB active so that he can get a Star Veil off and survive the rest of the fight. Oh, but he chooses not to do that.
I think with Golbez at this spot, you're not too worried about the spells. This is a low magic spot. And as soon as Fu comes out of that, he's just going to nuke and be done. Here's our next Moon Boss check for Dia. That is not an alt gauntlet.
Alright, so there's 3 more bosses down here.
In many other races with K-Moon on, that would be a very mean boss fight. That was Evil Wall. That is not a fun fight, even with a post-grind party.
Yeah, that would be a really tough one. Really happy that there's no key item behind that.
All right, let's see if see what she finds next. Just a Mylon Z. And Ground Flyer does the 1 nuke, and Golbez is down.
Also had that Fusoya in the middle slot, so that it would actually be a little faster. And that's Odin in the ribbon room.
Alright. If this is the alt gauntlet, Dia is going to be set up extremely well to, finish this race out. Really the only question will be, does Dia swag walk down there?
I bet she would.
I tried, chat. I tried one last time to get us what we wanted with an alt gauntlet at the Ogopogo, and it wasn't. It was just an antlion.
Just an antlion to remind us how far we've come. So if you're Dia, where are you starting when you get back to the blue planet?
I think that dwarf. It's not the bosses that you want, but it's still 2 key items. And you gotta hope that it's, Tower or Harp for you. You're gonna get Baron out of it. So that's gonna be 2 more bosses. I think that's gotta be her next stop.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. And we have CPU on the Baron throne.
Yeah, I had missed if that was Baron Throne or the Odin spot, so I like doing the throne first just because you can save in between in case you're not really comfortable taking that Odin spot. Gonna take a cane for an anchor.
Not a bad play. That Sid had gotten a few levels. Kane starts with a little bit of agility himself, but it shouldn't be a big problem.
Question of Flurry? Nope. Both Dia and Ground Flyer said no to that DKC, and Dia did not go back to it.
Yeah, and at this point, we're really starting to run out of places to go. I think we have Keyless Tower and the Baron Basement. Is that it?
Yeah, well, we know Calbrenna is at the top, or sorry, Water Hag is at the top of the tower.
Yeah, so that won't be the boss location.
Got a pan for Ground Flyer. That is that's gonna be really useful. That's 2 more key item checks that could yield either the tower key or the harp or the package.
Yeah, and I think last week that pan led to the package, which had the Water Hag.
Yeah, so we have this Odin spot coming up we haven't seen. The King Queen spot, without a hook, we haven't been able to see that yet. The package boss, the harp boss, the tower key. And that's the only bosses I believe we haven't seen.
Yeah, I don't remember Waterfall, but I'm pretty sure it was checked.
That was the Demonist.
Oh, that is not a good fight there.
Oh, and Ground Flyer still has encounters turned on. Yeah, I'm curious, and I'll have to ask Ground Flyer and Dia why they chose to not handle some of these bosses with key items. You know, they may know something I don't, and I really would like to know what they know.
Well, I think it just goes to one of those philosophies of free enterprise. There are no wrong checks, just wrong for that seed. And if the key item doesn't help you, well, it's just a waste of time to fight that boss, I guess.
Yeah, but I would like to find a pass, you know, especially if I was Dia, to not have to do that moonwalk again.
Yeah, that is a great point. Finding the past would be really nice so you don't have to go back up to the moon.
Now, Ground Flyer's going to come to the top of this tower, and he's going to see this blue robe, and he's going to be really happy to see it until he gets into the fight. And then still be happy, because Water Hag is an easy fight, but not the blue robe that he was looking for.
Yeah, I think he'll be a little disappointed.
Dia is getting her Baron Key. Ground Flyer making sure that his anchor stays heavy and taking this cane down.
Yeah, that's good. Kane is pretty good agility-wise, so you don't want him to get any accidental levels.
Dia setting up for that Golbez fight. Yeah, what are the chances that 2 weeks in a row we've had the boss hunt be behind one of the more obscure spots, either the package boss or, as Zoe Vermillion pointed out, the King Queen Evelyn spot?
I think that's just boss hunt.
And that was a package at the top of the tower.
Alright, so that's a good check. It takes a little bit to set up. We'll see if that's what Ground Flyer chooses to do next.
And it'll be curious to see if Ground Flyer will route this pan in right now, too, considering he's right next to the Sylph Cave.
Yeah, based on what Ground Flyer has been doing, I don't think so. I think he might check that boss first. He might leave a save down here.
Looks like checking the package. And I don't believe Groundflyer has checked Miss Cave yet. Or Waterfall, for that matter.
Then I think that makes the package make a bit more sense for him.
That's a Black Mage.
So that's Palom for, let's see, is that our 8th character? Do we know all the characters now? I think we're missing Edward, Tella, Cecil, and one other.
And Rydia. So yeah, that is our 8th. Fu, Yang, Sid, Edge, Rosa, Porum, Palom. And Kane. Titan's Quake is bouncing off of our post-grind characters, but still able to destroy mountains. And Dia went and stole Cecil's bed to cure all the status effects.
I like that. You do not see that very often. That's really... I love to see it.
This tells me that Dia is planning to take on the Odin spot before doing the throne.
Yeah, and with her party levels, I don't think this is a big risk. And it's good routing.
It saves time from coming back into the Baron Castle post the fight. It's still going to take the same amount of time to go through the cutscene. She's hoping that this is the Alt Gauntlet, and we know it's not, but if it was, she wouldn't have to do the cutscene then.
Yep, and Groundflyer reset out of that package Kaipo invite so quickly, I missed it. It apparently was... Go ahead.
I was going to say, based on the comments in chat, looks like it was probably Rubicon.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen elements yet, so I guess if it was just Rubicon, it was Rubicon.
Which would place the other fight in the Feymarch to be the Elements fight. Which is where Groundflyers... Nope.
Yeah, that's actually really good knowledge. I think that would make that fight a little bit easier, and maybe you could prioritize it.
And instead, Groundflyer is going to make the dive in the Steel Cave. Wants to make sure that boss at the bottom is not the one he is looking for.
Yep, so Groundflyer is going to get the bad news, and then he's going to have some decisions to make.
Dark Paladin, yes, that DKC can absolutely be holding that Twin Heart.
Yeah, we still have several key item locations. This Ashura fight is one of them that we don't know. And we also have the pan still unchecked.
Yeah, I'm curious on why Groundflyer hasn't checked that pan to maybe open up the tower key or the harp or the hook, possibly, because one of those has to be behind that pan, I gotta think, based on what checks we have left.
Yeah, I mean, at some point there's going to be the adamant and the spoon, but those are terminal key items, so I think the key items that we have to lead to some boss at this point.
There's our Twin Harp, though. So Baron Castle having some good stuff in there with this harp and the pan being behind the warp glitch.
Yeah, and I know chat will be hyped for music.
Ground Flyer is going to go bonk Yang on the head with the pan, wake him up, and see what the sylphs give him. While Dia is working on the CPU and Ground Flyer is going to be hitting Yang on the head, please do give our runners a follow if you haven't done so already. They've put on an excellent race for us tonight. Still have not had a first place winner in this Free Enterprise Legacy community race. There are a number of other runners off screen who are running this.
Yeah, that's right. Our runners are really good, and if you want to learn great strategies, follow them and watch their streams.
Sylphs give a hook. That's a rat tail check, and Ground Flyer has not raised the hovercraft yet, so it's going to go do so.
Right, so this hook could be pretty interesting. We've got one boss that we don't know on the hook route, and we've got that rat tail that could be the tower key.
Could also be a spoon or an adamant too. There's still a number of key items not gating things that that rat tail could be. This is really interesting to see how these runners have been so divergent ever since the grind on where they're going, and it looks like Dia is gonna be giving us some music. Taking the Barren Forest Black Chocobo.
Yeah, there's no reason that you have to take the Troya Forest Chocobo.
And on that note, we do have our first place winner in. Congratulations to PK4787 with a official race spot time of 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 49 seconds. GG's to PK for being our first place runner tonight.
GG's PK.
So this is a deep check for Ground Flyer. I did not see where his last save was. I suspect he is going in, gonna peek the boss, and saves come back out.
Yeah, I think that's a good guess.
And we just had our second place in a Stone Dingling. Finished in with an official race spot time of 1 hour, 13 minutes, and 51 seconds. GG's.
GG. Those are some close times for our first two runners.
So I'm somebody who has the race room open when I run. Or when you race Flumeria, do you have the room open as well?
Yes, I do.
Does seeing the duns come in really affect you when you're routing this in?
It does, but I always make the wrong decision anyway. So.
Oh, good. I'm not the only one then. I am a very poor metagamer. I know there are some excellent metagamers out there who are racers. I am not one of them. I tend to sit there and think, oh, if it can't be this, or this. That was a karate as well in the King Queen spot. And there is King Queen Eblin in the music. Do apologize for talking over the music. I got into my own talking and listening to Plenary and I talk about metagaming. Missed the cue for the music to start. So we've seen the King Queen spot. That was the karate fight for Ground Flyer. We've seen music now. We've seen the package. That means that it's got to be behind that tower key.
Which means the tower key. Did Ground Flyer check Sheila too?
If he did, I missed it. That's a big miss on my part, and I apologize.
Yeah, I'm afraid I missed it too. But I can't think of anywhere else it could be.
It could be at that Asura spot in the Fey March.
That was our twin harp, I think.
No, that was the Asura boss. In Odin was the twin harp.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, my
the element spot in or the elements fight in Fey March. And just now we had our third place winner with Rexrawl. Came in third place with the official time of 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 24 seconds. GG's to Rexrawl. Ground Flyer.
Right, so,
go ahead.
Alright, so I was just gonna say, you've seen the top 3 finish. You start opening chests?
I doubt we'll see Dia opening chests. Maybe Ground Flyer does. That tower key's got to be either behind the Elements fight at Asura or that DKC. Or Sheila too.
Yeah, I think that's all we have left.
Wait, what was the rat? Did Ground Flyer turn on the rat tail either? I don't think he did. I think he checked King Queen and reset out.
Yeah, I think you're right. I did not see the rat tail turn in.
Also, we do have the Dark Imps at Leviathan. For some reason, I thought Ground Flyer had taken that out earlier, but has not. So we do have a couple of checks still left.
Yeah, if I recall, Ground Flyer just kind of stared at them for a minute or two.
And for some reason in my head, I felt like he beat it by staring at him. So, with a stony gaze or stone spell. So Ground Flyer looks like has finished checking some of the moon bosses and reset all the way back here.
Yep, so that's good that he's got that out of the way. Doesn't have to worry about the moon anymore. And can now focus on these key items.
Oh, he didn't check the Babel bosses or the giant bosses.
Did he check Mom Bomb or the element spot?
He saw the Mom Bomb and left.
Oh, and Dia picked up the package.
Yeah, package was Dwarf Castle, I believe.
I thought it was top of tower.
Top of tower was the hook.
That's right.
this has been a very interesting scene for us to try and follow, with so many resets and so many key items checked and not checked. It is this has definitely been a more interesting one.
Yeah, and it's been really interesting. Both runners have been avoiding mostly the same checks and just kind of tracing over each other's footsteps.
All right, and we had our fourth place winner, Commander Leonhardt, finish with an official race spot time of 1 hour, 20 minutes, and 50 seconds. GG's to Commander Leonhardt. Dia is going to be checking this package boss. I do apologize. You were right. It was the package at the top of tower. Where was the hook then?
I want to say it was the Sylph summon, but I don't
Oh,
remember.
you are. You're right. I apologize. I didn't mean to correct you. I did at the time.
Oh, no, it's all right.
Now I'm wrong, though. So, so Dia's going to be getting the hook. We'll probably check that king-queen spot.
Yeah, so will that be the first thing she does, or will she turn in that rat tail? Keep in mind, Pass is still out there.
Yeah, I would like to prioritize the key item checks just to try and get that tower key.
Yeah, and I'm a little surprised that Groundflyer hasn't checked those, but I think he might be metagaming a little bit, like we said, and he's seen the finishes, and he thinks, well, maybe this was the answer.
And with that, we have our fifth place winner, Sans86, has finished with the official time, 1 hour, 23 minutes, and 3 seconds. And Dr. Kosek, sixth place with 1 hour, 23 minutes, and 13 seconds. GG's to both of them. So where does Dia go first? Does Dia check Sheila 2 and Rat Tail or King Queen?
Looks like King Queen. And I have to say, if I were running, I don't think I'd make any different decisions. I think I'd be looking for this boss as soon as many boss locations as I had open at the time.
I would agree with you, except I think the one difference I would have done is I would have taken that DKC fight if I was post-grind.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I don't mind skipping it, especially if you're going to come back to the moon. But now both players have isolated it pretty hard, so it's going to take both of them a while to get back there. If that's the answer, it could be a last location.
Ground Flyers through the Bomb fight, gonna be greeted with this pale dim here shortly. And this does double up for Ground Flyer a little bit. This is gonna finish his grind. Ground Flyer didn't take his grind as high as Dia did. His characters are just now level 50. Doesn't need the CPU boss fight experience, but with 10 key items, could go ahead and clear it and really power his team up.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of experience here and not a lot of HP. He might take this fight.
And decides not to, and he's all the way back on the moon. Maybe not the save he wanted.
Yeah, I thought maybe he was going to check that Dark Knight spot, but decides to go back to the blue planet.
Oh, Dia reset to before she had the hovercraft.
So that pushes her to Sheila 2 instead, which is not a bad check.
We are getting the rat tail check from Ground Flyer right now, and it is the pass.
Alright. So that's going to hurt Dia if she doesn't.
There's a tower key, though, for Dia.
Yeah, unfortunately, she doesn't. I guess she doesn't have the hovercraft launched, so she might not get that pass.
On that note, we do have a 7th place finisher. Lord Bobry is in with an official time 1 hour, 26 minutes, and 56 seconds. GG's.
Alright, so this is going to be... I think this has to be the All Gauntlet.
I believe so, too. And Ground Flyer has had this pan for a while. It'll be really interesting to see why he decided on some of the other checks first. And there it is, in the tower key.
So this will be a pretty easy fight for our parties here.
For those unaware, the Febble Gauntlet was a change made this year that changed the Febble Defense fight that was a set fight that many considered to be a free fight because it still used the statistics of that fight no matter where it showed up. To become 5 random encounters from the area that you find the Febble Gauntlet fight. That's been a very well received flag. I know I prefer it myself, just because of the difference. Instead of getting those guards and gargoyle and stuff, so that's why we're seeing 5 fights here from the lower Tower Babel instead of the normal full defense.
Yeah, so in a way, this is an upgrade from the Dark Imp fight, but still very manageable for our party, over-leveled parties.
Up, and as Dia and Ground Fighter are both getting through on this, we have our 8th place winner, Pixel Tamer, 1 hour, 28 minutes, 28 seconds, and Clopper for 1 hour, 29 minutes, and 16 seconds. GG's to both of them.
And Ground Flyer healing the Chimera and the Flame Man with the Flame. Not sure if that was a misclick or what.
Could just be a number of things. Could be nerves. Could be just wanting to try and clear the screen as fast as possible.
Yep, all understandable. It's been a long seed.
And we do have our 10th place finisher in the Harumph at 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 6 seconds. GG's. And at 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 20 some seconds, Dia has her crystal, and she is in go mode. And it's going to be heading to the moon.
And I'm sure she's really hoping she gets the pass at the bottom of the tower. We know she won't, but so she'll have to go up to the moon and take the long walk down the lunar subterranean.
So you're in go mode. You have the hook, you have the rat tail, but you haven't raised the hovercraft in this save. Do you take a gamble that that's your pass, or do you just go to the moon?
I think I'd be pretty tilted. I'd probably just go to the moon. On the other hand, there aren't many key item locations left.
Yeah, there's 4 that she's about to get one of them.
Yeah, and she knows the pink tail's behind the twin harp, so that's another one.
Oh, I did forget she reset out of that. So yeah, so she knows there's three checks left and 3 key items left right now. And thank you for the raid, Commander Leonhardt.
But it wasn't even a key item, it was the Stardust Rod. So Spoon and Adamant are still out there, I think.
Both of those are in the Fey March.
And I think the DKC fight could have one of those as well.
Oh, you're right. I keep forgetting the DKC fights. So Ground Flyer has a pass, gonna be able to head immediately to that fight. Dia is getting set up, gonna be using food for some nukes, and is doing the long run down. This is a couple of minutes with some good routing, which Dia is an excellent runner. Ground Flyer is going to have probably a good minute and a half head start on his Zeromus fight.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think his party is a little weaker, so Dia may be able to come back from behind and beat Ground Flyer, but we will see.
And we're getting these weird Z flags in, and being this is your first commentary tonight, Pomaria, can you explain what these flags are?
Sure thing, Bad Karma. So in Free Enterprise, we randomize a lot of things. We randomize where we put the key items, where we put bosses, and where we put characters. But one thing that we can't randomize is where Zeromus is and who is the final boss. So instead, we randomize who that boss is. So the question becomes, whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
Come on, flip table must. Dia with the swag walk has not saved. He's going straight down.
That would make me really nervous if I were running and I did not save.
Crystal's out, and let's see who we're dealing with. As Tybalt finishes in 14th place with a 1 hour, 35 minutes, 15 seconds. Hello, Bartendalus from Final Fantasy 13.
Well, I love this sprite. I hate the boss, but I love this sprite.
There's over 460 sprites that Zeromus can be. All of them look fantastic. The majority of them done by the wonderful Scala Kitty, and the rest of them, equally as good, are done by Boardface.
Yeah, and each one is a work of art. It looks like Groundflyer has a couple of Bacchus lines, but is electing to go with Reflect strats.
There's a number of different strategies with how to tackle this Zeromus fight. Reflect strats, you don't have to worry about the HP refill.
Yeah, so in Final Fantasy IV, there's a maximum HP value of around 65,000, and to give Zeromus more punch, basically he refills his HP at a certain point in the fight. And to get around that, the programmers made it so that he would counter with an HP refill when he got low enough.
And as with most anything in Final Fantasy IV, if you reflect a spell onto a boss that has a counter, that reflected spell will not trigger the counter. So you can kill Zeromus without triggering that HP refill.
And I think Dia has gotten a couple of Yang punches in and is now going to KO Yang so that he doesn't trip that refill script. Oh, or I could be mistaken.
Ooh, Groundflyer looks like he could be in a tough spot there.
Yeah, Edge is down, and his party is low on HP. I think he has some Cure 3s, but it's going to be a little dicey.
I think he used the one Cure 3 he had, but there's the black hole, so that's going to be allow Rosa to get a cure off on herself.
Yeah, just a little off on the timing. Unfortunately, the Cure 4 goes off first, so he'll have to get another heal queued up. And it looks like Dia did KO that Yang, and is now going with Forum and Fusoya to finish off the Barthandelin, Barthanmus.
I know his name, and I don't like pronouncing it correctly. And that is the flash and the crack, and that is get your GGs in chat for Groundflyer with an official race spot time of 1 hour, 38 minutes, 58 seconds. That puts him at 15th place. And shortly after, we have Dragus in at 16th place at 1 hour, 39 minutes, 28 seconds. And we'll see about getting Groundflyer in here for an interview.
Well, that was a great fight from Groundflyer, I have to say.
Yeah, it looked really dicey there for a second, and he was able to recover quickly and get it done.
Ooh, and Fusoya went for the psych on Forum, and I think Forum just died.
Oh, and Dia had to go with the reset.
Oh, that's devastating. Oh, I thought she had it.
And we are joined by Groundflyer. Groundflyer's GG.
Thanks, GG's.
GG
And
Ground Flyer.
how are
What-
you feeling about that siege?
I don't know, like all sorts of feelings, honestly. Like on one hand, I obviously like at the end it was just okay. Where is this one boss? I need to find this one boss, and so I started, searching different places. I'm like, okay, I could go to the moon and check all the moon bosses and stuff. I'm like, I'm not gonna waste time with that. I'm just gonna stay on Earth and try all the cheeky different things I can check, anything I can think of, and nothing obviously panned out. And then I got, I did eventually get the pan. And I ended up going to check Giant and then checking the moon bosses, all this stuff. And then finally got back and did get that tower key, which had go mode.
Yeah, that was one of the questions I was going to ask you is what made you decide to check some of the other things after you did the keyless tower over finishing up the Sheila 2 check?
I don't know, like at that point, I think I started seeing dot duns come in, and I was like, crud. I think maybe I need to change my meta up a little bit here. So like, PK finished in first. I'm like, okay, it could be that there was some like, I thought some would be done already considering how quickly I got the other 4 objectives. So I was like, okay, maybe he took out a tough alt gauntlet on the moon. So I went back and checked the moon, and but I saw a couple other people finishing, and I'm like, okay, well now that a couple people have finished, like maybe it's the giant boss. So I went and did the giant. But I kept skipping over like key items for like just open bosses that existed right there that I could check. So obviously I didn't end up doing that in the best order, but I felt pretty good about the stuff I was checking. It's just
Yeah, you ran a great race. You and Dia actually were pretty neck and neck in terms of making your checks. You both actually went and did your grind at the same time. But Dia did get a couple of knowledge checks in before doing her grind. She dove the sealed cave before to see if that was the boss or not, and then checked the dwarf castle bosses without finishing it. So she knew that she could get 2 key items quickly there. So you ran a really good race. It just, that alt gauntlet was just being sneaky.
Wait, gosh, Dia finished? I didn't see the.
She hasn't finished yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I thought you were saying. My bad. But actually, speaking of which, do you want me to hop in and do music? I can throw that up while I'm talking to you guys.
Sure. We'll always take another rendition of music. You're seeing on your screen where the twin harp was.
Wait, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was fun. Oh, wrong save. Darn it. It was fun to to do this race. But yeah, like it's weird when you start out with Fusoya. You're like, well, and it's a fully powered Fusoya, no less. So you're like, well, power overwhelming, I guess.
Yeah, and that was a conversation Plumeria and I had early on was, where do you go with this fully powered food? What's your strategy in that? And seeing that come out and having all your spells, can basically just roll over everything in the blue planet.
Yeah, like for me, it was like pretty clear that I'm just going to obliterate like the whole overworld, and just start like the first thing I was like, okay, checking the Baron in, want that character check in. That turned out fruitful. I got Earth Key pretty early, so I went and did that, and that ended up having one of like 12 SIDs. So I didn't really need it, but it was good anyway. I don't remember what the item that came out of that was, though. It's been a hot second. But yeah, like having that fully powered like made basically the entire overworld free and a lot of the underworld. But it still doesn't matter when you've got like a million places to check for a single boss, and it could be anywhere. Like I was like, okay, I'll do the package check because I haven't seen anybody finish yet. Let's do the package, and obviously that was, I think, one of the legs.
Yep, that was the Rubicante, and the Elements was down in the Fey March.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I never checked either of them, so I wasn't sure. Well, I mean, did Dia check Fey March stuff, Odin stuff at all, or not?
She did Odin, yes.
Gotcha. Yeah, I thought about it, and I'm like, nah, I'll just keep, And I thought about doing DKC because like that, on K Summon that can still be a thing. Once I had a powered up Yang, I probably could have done that really quickly, but I don't know if that amounted to anything. But yeah, I mean, all in all, this had a lot of interesting loopholes, or not loopholes, different paths you could take, and just a million places to check for bosses. Anytime I saw something, I'm like, oh, got to run to the shiny, check the new boss, and checked hook route, did that, and all this stuff. So I, it kind of was just, I felt like I was doing a pretty straightforward run, and then once I saw the dot duns come in, I started trying to do some meta stuff, be a little cheeky, and it didn't work out in my favor. I'm bad at meta, it turns out, but I felt like I played a good race, so I'm pretty happy with my performance.
Yeah, I agree. I think you played a great race. Sometimes rando's gonna rando, right?
Absolutely.
So those dark imps in the Leviathan spot, you stared at them for a good couple of seconds. Did you think about taking that on?
I was like, oh, they're easy. I could just use, and then I'm like, oh right, they punch really, really hard. This is actually like one of the worst bosses at this, even though they're, I mean, unless you have like an hourglass handy, and I don't think I did. So I looked at them and went, no thanks, and ducked out.
I think that was a sensible decision.
Did it have anything? I wasn't even looking at my log, so I might have missed it, but.
Dia didn't clear it either, so we're not sure what it did have.
But yeah, that Leviathan is not only fast, but it is one of the punchiest spots in the game. So anything that does physical damage, like a water hag, will destroy you there. It doesn't matter. But, oh yeah, top of tower. When I saw that blue robe, I was like, "Don't even tell me," and it was.
Well, we called that. Well, I did. I said you were gonna get up there. You're gonna see that blue robe and get excited, and then be very sad.
Exactly, and I was. But hey, tower had both sets of robes, or both blue robes. So I was on the right track, just not in the right spot.
Our tracker Kairu is saying that he believes that the Dark Imps had the adamant.
Gotcha. I'd be curious to know like if that had anything, in the cook-hole shop or whatever. But not that interested for sure.
I believe Pixel Tamer said that it had protect rings.
I mean that's a nice thing, but I had a white robe on Rosa. I'm good. I did. I knew the meta objective was it had to be less than 25 treasures checked, but I'm like, okay, I think the treasury might be less than that already. And I did still count them through, but I basically checked that and like I think one or two other treasures, so I was under the 25, even though it didn't end up mattering in the end.
Yeah, Dia looted one, and that was the Famous chest.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I am super not surprised that seems to be a very Dia thing to do. I just was like, hey, I have Earth Crystal. I'm doing the Earth check. I'm already over here checking Eddie, the freebie on Eddie's. And so I'm like, I might as well just go in and do treasury. So hopefully you got the little jingle. Well, if you didn't get the jingle, it's fine. But I don't know what the treasury rated. I probably would have rated it like a 6, maybe.
Yeah, you were so fast. I actually missed half your treasury. To be honest, you were in there like a madman, getting everything.
Yeah, I think that was where I got the white robe, and I got oh, that's right. I got 2 life staffs and 2 dragoon spears and some other junk. Bunch of armor, I think. But yeah, all in all, it didn't really matter. Obviously, I didn't have any real armor users except for the Anchor Kane at the end. I ended up trading for him when I saw him because Sid was a little higher agility, so I figured I'd have a better setup.
Well, that's all I have for Ground Fire. Do you have anything else for Mary Knight?
Well, I do want to say that Zeroma's fight was really good. I was very impressed that you were able to do that with the just 2 reflect casters.
Yeah, it was a little bit tougher than I was, and then I was like, crud! I totally had things out of order a little bit. Like I think my agility wasn't perfect, so it kind of messed up the turn order slightly, and then I wasn't able to get off anything, to counter nuke to try and nerf it. So I just took the hit, but in the end, it didn't matter because Fu and Rosa both survived, and that's all I really needed. And I had enough curatives to get myself through it. So yeah, I felt pretty good about that run, that boss.
Well, like we said, you've ran a great race. GG's to you, and we'll hopefully be seeing a little bit more of you here soon.
Yeah, thanks very much. Before I split, I want to thank Asuka for showing this on TV, on the screens for everybody to see. I'd like to thank Bad Karma. Oh wait, I'm sorry, Kairu's tracker and Bad Karma, Plumeri Knight. Thank you both for doing comms. I really appreciate all of your help. It's always a pleasure to be a part of this and to be a part of this community. So thanks everybody.
Thank you for putting on a great race for us.
Thanks. Have a good night, everybody.
You too.
too. And that was our 15th place winner, first on the restream ground flyer. Fortunately, Dia did take a wipe in her first attempt on Martanimus, and so is working through another round. And during the interview, we had a couple other people finish. We had Dragus, who I had called before ground flyer came in, Neon Gray at 17th, Woo Bear at 18th, Microcore's 19th, and Aegis at 20th place. GG's to all of them.
GG's everyone. Great races.
So Dia, it looks to be in a tight spot, but probably has this stabilized to where she's got this under control. She has reverted to 1200 HP strats, essentially, with Star Veils on both Yang and Sid, and throwing the crystal out and reflecting nukes.
Yeah, hopefully this is almost over. I don't know how many Cure 2s she has. It could be close.
Yep, and when properly nerfed, a Big Bang can't do more than 1200 damage. So she just needs to keep her party over that amount. Get these Star Veils up, get the crystal throwing to keep getting Zeromus to keep nuking himself down.
Yeah, and I think Barthamus just did a unprompted nuke, so this might be phase 2.
Yeah, I didn't catch to see how much damage she had thrown out there before having to adjust to this strategy. I know she got Soma drops from the Moon Shop to give Fusuya some more MP. I believe Fu is up to about 240 MP now.
Yeah, that's right. I did see her do that. I think what happened was she ended up with Yang and Sid berserk, so she may have tripped into phase 2.
As long as the Cure 2s hold up, she should be able to keep her party pretty much up here with these reflected nukes.
Yeah, I think it may actually be advantageous. I'm not 100% sure. I've never seen the 1200 HP strat in phase 2, and it's looking good so far, though.
It's just, it takes so much concentration for these, strats. I know, me personally, I know how they're done. I've never actually pulled one off. I just try to grind and go power overwhelming as much as I can, personally.
Yeah, I have a notepad that describes the strategy, but I've never had to do it in a race. So, yeah, I have no idea if I could actually pull it off or not.
I mean, this just goes to show that, there are so many different ways to play this game. There's so many different ideals and strategies, that we have so many people who can just pivot to these things and just show off their skill. I mean, this is a skill to be able to take this fight as D is doing and, making it work and getting it done, it looks like.
Yeah, this is a really impressive show of skill. I think she's not healing anymore. She's probably been counting damage and knows how much is left. And so this is gonna get right down to the end.
And there it is. There's the flash. Get your GGs in chat for Dia. And we will see about getting her in here for an interview. And we are joined by Dia. Dia, GG's.
Thank you.
Yeah, GG, Dia.
How are you feeling with that seed and having so many objectives?
And we are
lit up
joined
at
by
the
Dia.
10-minute Dia, GG's.
That's
Yeah,
just
GG,
what
Dia.
happens when you last location a boss in a boss hunt.
How are you feeling with that seed and having so many objectives lit up at the 10-minute definitely
mark.
seemed like this was going to be an early night for all of us, and then that alt gauntlet did not want to come out anywhere.
It, like I said, just check every
Yeah,
other boss
it
location
definitely
and
seemed like
then
this was
define
going to
and
be
find it,
an
the last
early
one.
night for all of us, and then
And then just
that alt
two
gauntlet did
very,
not want to come
very
out
off the
anywhere.
rails Z fights, and you easily get 2 hour seed.
Well, a nicely recovered Z fight on the second one.
That was just because I decided to, that if I lost that fight, I was just gonna forfeit. So just play it out, see if I can win it, and I got through it somehow.
Yeah, we were just commenting on how well you were able to recover on that because you were just, shifted into that 1200 HP strat and you were just making it work. And I personally was in awe that you pulled that off and did it so well.
Yeah, I knew like at that point that was the only way to win the fight. And like just very, very bad luck with the Sturville running out on food, so the White Cast kills him, and then Porm eats the counter nuke from that vampire. It was just very bad luck there, and at that point, whatever, just if I win, I win. If I don't, well, we tried the 1200 strats.
Well, it paid off for you well. You got through the fight. You ran an excellent race. All the boss checks and stuff like that. The one question I do have for you is, when you went to the top of the tower, you saw that water hag, and you exited out. Was there any thought of like finishing it to at least see the key item?
Not really. At that point, I had Luca Cave, Olive Moon, and both fights on the Giant left, compared to I think 6 bosses that were gated by key items. So, like, the odds there are in my favor that I don't need another key item. So just ignore that and go through the bosses that I know I can check very quickly, and then just kept going through the sea. Nothing turns up. I knew I lost after getting to Ogopogo spot and seeing that Ogonon wasn't there. At that point, I knew I lost. Then I keep going, and it just keeps getting worse and worse as the boss just does not want to show up.
I did try to will it to be at the Ogopogo spot for you. I had a couple other commentator blessings and curses for you all the way up to that. So I really tried to put it there for you. You were the first one there on the restream.
Yeah, if it's there, I feel like I have a pretty good shot at winning this one. Because I did the grind. Like, yes, that Monbon fight took a little longer than it should have, so I didn't get through the extra 10,000 HP. But other than that, like, I was playing it very quickly through the rest of it, and then just get through there, nothing shows up, go back underground to the earth, and just last location ends. What? That's just random sometimes.
Yeah, and also, I do want to commend you. You looted one chest, I believe, and that was the Fey March freebie. I definitely could not do that. I couldn't even get under 25, but congratulations to you just on that alone. That was very excellent.
Yeah, that just, I saw the booster, I was like, okay, screw it. The main objectives do less than 25. I'm just not gonna do any, except for that one key item.
Did you think about the treasury at all?
Not once.
Well, that's all I have for Dia Plumeria. You got anything else for her?
Well, it was a great race. We had dueling D machines, you and Groundflyer at the same time, and I really liked your check to go to the moon. The choice to go to the moon. It just didn't pay off today.
Yeah, and that's, like I said, that's just random.
Brandon? Go ahead,
sorry.
Mary.
One thing, the pass ended up being at Rat Tail. Did you think about going back to that?
I was only thinking of. I was until I turned in the pan and got the tower key. After that, it just didn't even cross my mind that about it. So
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, odds are it isn't there.
Yeah, we were debating on that if you might check it or not, and I think we were wondering if maybe the hovercraft being still down on that save that you reset to after the king-queen check may have played into that decision.
yeah, that's part of it. Also, just like if you lost location a boss in a boss hunt, you're just not even thinking about that. You're just like, oh, let's just end this.
Well, thank you, Dia, for putting on an excellent race for us. It was well run, and like you said, Rando's gonna rando, but I look forward to seeing more races from you in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah, always appreciate having you on the restream. I always learn a lot every time. So thanks for being here.
Thank you for the commentary. Thanks, Oscar, for the restream. And I don't know who was tracking, but thank you to them as well. Is it Kyru?
Yes,
Yes.
it was.
Thank you as well, Kyru.
And on that note, that is going to end our community club showcase for the Enterprise Legacy race. Thank you for coming out and supporting the runners, supporting the Restream team. This was Plumeri Knight's first commentary, so GG's to him on getting through it.
Thank you. Thank you for helping out, especially any mistakes I may have made.
Yeah, you did a fantastic job in my book. So on that note, we are going to kick this over to Power Up with Pride. We have Vanny Van is running Willow for the Winter Pride 2020. So please give your support as we head on over there. Do you have any final thoughts real quick, Mary, before we get kicked over?
Just thanks to Zoe for setting up this great community race, and I hope everyone tunes in next week.
And thank you all for watching. Thank you, Asuka. Thank you, Kyra. And thank you, Plumeri Knight. And you all have a good night tonight.
Good night, everyone.